Welcome back, everyone. 6:44 now, and an asthma diagnosis isn't just for kids. Adults well past childhood can also develop asthma, and Sonia's here to tell us more about this, something that most of us haven't heard of.
Yeah, and it's happening a lot. We know from research that at least 30% of adult onset asthma is triggered by allergies. The rest can be caused by hormonal fluctuations in women, exercise, even eczema. Surprisingly, smoking isn't linked to this, but get this, exposure to secondhand smoke is.
I started running when I was in high school.
Scott Collins has always considered himself a runner of some kind and very in tune with his body.
It was like a sledgehammer.
It was on a trip to China that Scott experienced something he'd never felt before.
That was the first time I ever heard myself wheezing. I was walking up the Great Wall outside of Beijing. I just stopped, and I was bent over with my hands on my knees, sucking for air.
Shortness of breath and wheezing are two of the telltale signs of an asthma attack, along with coughing and tightness in the chest.
Deep breath.
Back home at the hospital, Scott was diagnosed with acute bronchitis. Later, he learned that triggered something more: adult onset asthma.
It can be incredibly problematic.
Pulmonary doctor Mark Millard says it's common for adults who develop asthma to be misdiagnosed.
It presents with recurring episodes of bronchitis. You just have a cough, or you get sick 3 or 4 times a year, and it just keeps getting more and more and more common.
So aside from allergies, why would adults suddenly develop asthma later in life?
It may be an occupational exposure to some chemicals, it may be a viral infection.
He says your genes plus the environment that triggers those genes could lead to severe asthma symptoms.
You take it for granted, a breath of air.
Scott now has an inhaler and takes a precision medication, not an oral steroid. His asthma is under control, which has put his life back on track.
It was a relief to know that you could live with this, that you didn't have to suffer through it.
So I just want to point out that often asthma in adults is misdiagnosed as COPD, emphysema, bronchitis, even heart disease. If problems linger for more than 3 to 6 months, you definitely want to see a specialist. I also want to mention that a lot of times you're prescribed oral steroids like prednisone. Dr. Millard told us that even though short term that might feel better, long term it's really not good for your organs.